think we're live. Okay, hi everybody. This is Bob Rivers. Part of why we're here doing this pop-up live podcast is that some of you know I spent the weekend in the hospital for AFib. I wanted to show you that I am mighty and strong and over it for now. Although, like many guys and gals, it turns out, my age, I'll have a cardiologist and I'll have to maintain it. In fact, one of the guys with us on tonight, I think, has a similar story, and maybe even Zip has some of that. But we're not going to talk about that. Tonight's topic is, who's your favorite billionaire? And this could be greatest billionaire of all time. It could be the pharaohs who built the pyramids. It could be Steve Jobs, who made the iPhone possible and changed the world. It could be Bill Gates. It could be Donald Trump, if you like. You can text us. You can comment, and we'll read your texts. In my case, and I swear I'm not just clickbaiting you, in my case, I'd make an argument, even though I may not like the guy personally, that Elon Musk has done so much for society just by making the electric car happen when no one else could, that, and by the way, I'm not a big fan of billionaires. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be best buddies with, well, they wouldn't be best buddies with me either, but I wouldn't necessarily like them because they're bulldozers, they're drivers. You know what bulldozers do to anything that's in their way. And even though I'm not a billionaire, early in my career, I was given the nickname Bulldozer once by my dear friend Zip.
Well, yes, I believe I did give you that moniker, my friend.
Do you remember that? Now, can you tell people exactly why? And
well, I actually called you two things. I called you the Great Facilitator. That was one term. And bulldozer was just, essentially you would deforest the human population in your quest to achieve whatever it was you wanted to do at the time.
Right. Thank you for putting the nice one first. My son, Andrew, I believe, is also here. Andrew, how you doing?
Swell. How are you?
Great. It was good talking to you. Let's move on now.
The home run derby is on, so I'm just reliving my childhood by watching an all-star game in Seattle.
That's fun. And I'm sorry if you were very busy to be on this, but I think you can just sort of half pay attention until we.
Well, the good thing is that you guys are so old that you talk at half speed, so I can pay attention to two things at once, actually.
Perfect. Jesus. All right. And Sean Alexander joins us from Orcas Island as well. Sean and I, for years, had a cup of tea and talked about globalism, philosophy, and Sean gave me a lot of country lawyer wisdom. Perhaps one of the most important things I learned from Sean is it's this positive law thing. It's this what's going to make you happy slogan that he has, rather than fight, which lawyers often want to do. And this week it came out that Mark Zuckerberg was going to be sued by Elon Musk. And I was asked about that, and I went, it's a day that ends in Y, isn't it, for a billionaire? So anyway, Sean, welcome. So, all right, here's the question to start with. Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg. Zip fell. And they're off. Who are you rooting for?
Between those two, I don't have a dog in the fight there. I really don't, honestly. I don't particularly care.
Okay, the Titanic is going down. There's room for only one of them on the lifeboat.
Who's got their checkbook?
Okay,
Who's got the checkbook?
All right, no, Elon Musk, just for his contributions. Although Zuckerberg's done a
He's quite a dick too. He's quite a bulldozer. But he's a great facilitator, is he not?
Yes, he is. He is. Yes.
The media, and when I say the media, I mean who knows what that means. Mainstream media, right-wing media, all media seems to be against Elon Musk. This brings me back to Sean's favorite saying, he who has the gold rules. And it sort of looks like
Okay,
Elon.
you
yeah,
kind of paraphrase that a little bit
yeah,
wrong.
okay.
The golden rule.
Yes.
The golden rule is he who has the gold makes the rules.
Makes the rules. Distinction without a difference, difference without a distinction. But yes, I remember that now.
Can I add a quick phrase that I've heard too in my industry? We call it "be who you can afford to be."
So, all right, a little about Elon Musk, and by the way, a lot of my friends just glaze over and can't even talk to me when I start saying nice things about Elon Musk, because much like Vladimir Putin. You know, he's been categorized, and he's categorized by an entire ecosystem of media that depends on what to make its living. Zip, we talked about this.
Yeah, but it's also his demeanor, I think, throws people for a loop big time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you have that kind of a hamster wheel mind that's grinding out ideas 24/7, you do look a little detached and a little non-empathetic. You appear non-empathetic. Let's put it that way.
Well, and he's a what do you call a person who goes completely against the grain,
Contrarian.
a contrarian. He's a complete contrarian, and that's how he built the electric car.
I think he bought the company that made the electric car. I don't think he
But this goes for all billionaires, by the way. All billionaires bought teams and pieces to put together to accomplish what others couldn't. Bill Gates bought MS-DOS. He didn't make MS-DOS, right?
a few billionaires inherited their wealth. I have a neighbor who's that way.
Yes. Yes. I don't like them. I'm talking about my favorite billionaires.
Oh, okay.
Because the ones who inherited their wealth, I can rewatch seasons of Succession anytime. See.
Yes.
And yeah, they tend to be nasty
Hard to
assholes.
work with.
Yeah. Entitled,
Yes.
narcissistic. So anyway, a little more on Elon Musk, and then I want you all to just think about great billionaires who accomplished a lot. Could you even be a billionaire and be a nice guy? Could you even not be a sociopath if you had that much money? My friend John's book about brain rules for work posits that power does interfere with your ability to have empathy for other people or to even think of them as people. And many examples of this. But Elon Musk, you have to admit, every other car company rejected the electric car. Governments did nothing. Everyone classed with saving us from global warming was ineffective. And yet Elon saw a way to make money. And he risked everything. And at times he was close to bankrupt. And the Tesla now, it turns out, has 60% market share on electric cars, somewhere around a 25% profit margin compared to Ford, which was roughly a 5% profit margin. Don't believe me, you can Google for specifics on that. And Elon is now cutting prices to create a price war to put the squeeze on the other car companies. And so all of this, I made this point on Cairo Friday with Spike, where I was bulldozing at full bulldozer strength. He has this power only because he made it happen when no one else could. He built the infrastructure of superchargers, and now Ford and GM have both had to sign on to his supercharger network. You know, remember there was the PC, and then there was, all these companies had to license it from Microsoft. Brilliant. Now, people don't like him because he bought Twitter, and he's kind of a right-winger, and he's a bit of a Trump-like character on Twitter in that he, he's a contrarian who stirs the pot, as you will, and gets people arguing. He's for free speech. That's a catchphrase. But he says speech, free speech.
It's not really a catchphrase. It's kind of in the Constitution.
Well, yeah, but I stand partially corrected, but really,
Oh no, you're right too.
yeah, as he's using it, it's a catchphrase because his subtitle to that is "Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of reach." And so, what he did to tweak all of his enemies, which gets him free publicity, is he reinstated a whole bunch of accounts and squelched the reach of those accounts if they're hate speech. And if you've read into exactly how Twitter is operating, they wanted to tweak you. And when he first bought it, I said, he's going to be the right-wing chat social media thing. So he's going to be the, who owns Fox? Rupert Murdoch. He's going to be the Rupert Murdoch of the Twitterverse. And now along comes Mark Zuckerberg, who says, oh, you're leaving the mainstream open? I'll take that. So, all right, which one's better? Zip, you surprised me going with Musk. Andrew, how's the home run derby come?
Oh, it's good. The first batter has 24. It's going to be a tough number to beat. He might become a billionaire if he wins. And shame on him for stealing money out of my pocket, even though he worked really hard to earn it and probably had to, sacrifice a lot of time and attention that I wasn't willing to put in, but I should still reap the benefits of his hard work. So, when it comes down to the thesis in question of who wins between a battle of billionaires, I think the answer is the consumer. And that is the theory of capitalism, which, whether you like it or not, is what we live under. So as opposed to, the idea of like, if you want something, you better work for it. So good for him. And also, he could still fail. So,
what is failure when you're the richest man in the world? Being the second richest man in the world?
Yeah, number 2.
I think he's pretty set.
Yeah.
So, good for him, good for us. I think if he wants to be, again, you could go from being, Ford used to be the number one automobile company. Mm-hmm. You could go from a 25% profit to a 5% and be a failure. I think he'll still have a couple houses and a couple cars to drive. Yeah. But
is he a good person or a bad person for humanity? That's
I think as long as he's driving the process forward, whether I don't get to say he's a bad human because he's a little right of center or because whatever. Like, yeah, he bought an app and he made it worse. Like, cool. It's his job to figure out how to turn that around. And if he does, great. And if he doesn't, we'll keep laughing at him,
Yeah. Well, I think he wants you to laugh at him because one of his absolute, you could call it brilliant moves or not, is that he doesn't have to spend any money on advertising. He does he does not have to pay anyone to talk about him, which is something that Trump did but Trump got donations for people to talk about him too. But Elon Musk, if he gets a press inquiry, his infamous standard response, anytime Tesla gets an inquiry from the press for an interview, the response is an email with a poop emoji in it.
Right. Because what the smart people have figured out is that the highest commodity is attention. Mm-hmm. That is where you make all your money. Is if you have enough attention, you can sell out 100 seats 7 nights a week throughout the country and put on stand-up comedy shows, or you can sell lotions on Instagram. Or you can put on a bad podcast with 4 old farts and have people subscribe to a Patreon.
We're having some
the
technical
world is
difficulties.
yours as long as you have attention.
We're having some technical difficulties. Come back. He's got a problem. We'll check back with you later. No, I want to introduce.
It's a funny bit.
Some of the viewers. Hang on. Michael Woodhouse, dear friend in Claremont, New Hampshire, one of the cities that gets the most early attention for presidential races because they always come and say they're going to fix what's wrong with Claremont. And for 100 years, they can still come in and say they're going to fix.
What's wrong with Claremont?
Oh, it's a New England mill town that all the jobs were shipped overseas by not Ross Perot, some other guy. And
These things happen.
yeah, it's a great place to live, by the way. I love the area. We live there. He votes for Elon so he can continue ruining Twitter. But in this case, it's like two bad guy wrestlers in the ring together. Yeah, we got that. We don't like billionaires. And you've said this one before, Sean.
Yes, it defines the way you become a billionaire is on the shoulders of the downtrodden.
Yeah. And if you're watching now and you want to text, feel free to text. Let's see who else we got. Oh, Michael Woodhouse still has more time for texting. Elon doing for Twitter what Murdoch did for MySpace.
Good one.
That's a really good one, and he may destroy it. I believe he put up 12 billion of his own richest guy on the planet, 200 something billion fortune. So if he destroys it, what's destroyed look like? That means another app is so big that it's not worth running. I don't see that happening. I think, how long ago was it? A year or two ago, that Zuckerberg was in front of Congress testifying how sorry he was that Facebook was causing teenage girls to commit suicide, and that the algorithm was bitterly making people angry and divisive, and Facebook knew it and was making money on it anyway. In other words, he was more evil than Elon Musk by a factor of a couple. I mean, I don't know if Elon's causing teen suicides and getting everybody to hate each other, but Elon is now the good guy. And that's the thing about our society and the media. We knock people down, and when we're down, or when they're down, redemption! You know, the celebrity who loses a lot of weight, the guy who punches Chris Rock in the face and is really sorry. You know, that's I don't
Every
see
defendant at sentencing.
That's what you do, yes.
No,
all right.
not me. I have to be in the room so I hear it. I don't do that.
Other guys, Bill Gates, good guy or bad guy? Zip.
Good guy at heart, I think. You know,
I'm going to echo that. Good guy at heart.
yes.
I kind of feel
And,
that
you know,
way.
that's the other thing. You didn't put any criteria on a favorite. I mean, in what respect? Is it amount of dollars or contribution to society or happiness or intellect or whatever it is?
I think it is. I think
No
the
record
way-
of him being on Epstein's island. You know, those are sort of my criteria. But
Yeah. So that's a great distinction to try and draw. I think it's a question of good person, and a good person has a good effect on humanity.
And that's who I would vote for, is someone who's had an effect on humanity that is measurable, that you can walk in
Yes.
and see in almost every city.
Yeah, and with Gates, you know, and with Gates and Jeff Bezos, maybe, and Donald Trump, maybe not the best husband,
Well,
but and Bill Clinton, and not a billionaire, but still maybe not the best husband for a period of time. Maybe he's better now. So yeah, it's not about like having human failings. Like Steve Jobs didn't even recognize his own child, refused to acknowledge the DNA of his daughter, was mean to employees on a level far beyond what I've even heard about Elon Musk, although you've heard that of Elon. And back in the day, Bill Gates did not suffer fools. There were many stories about Bill Gates being dismissive and difficult.
I actually worked for a company and we had a contract with Mr. Gates, and he was very kind to us, but he insisted we be very difficult for the other side. And he's not who I would have picked as my favorite
Back then.
anytime.
Oh, anytime.
I got one now.
Who's yours now?
Andrew Carnegie, who put libraries all across the country.
Ah.
He did something good. And I can
Was
say
he
this.
oil or railroads? Who was Andrew? Andrew Carnegie.
Railroads.
Carnegie is how you're supposed to say it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's how
Who's
I
the-
say it.
All right, the railroad baron?
Railroad baron. He was terrible to his employees, and that's how he made his money. Yeah, that's part of being a billionaire.
Some billionaires
Uh-oh.
are best after they're dead.
That's right. Well, I got to confess, I'm unduly influenced because my mother was a librarian. So
So was mine, oddly enough, Sean. That's
really,
yes.
that's
she
the first
was.
other librarian child I've met.
Yes, yes.
That's why you're so well spoken and well read.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well,
And humble.
and humble.
With humility, yes. No.
Who are some of the
interesting,
other
though.
ones? Let's think about who are some. Jeff Bezos. Has he made all our lives better by destroying every little mom and pop store and every competitor and
Wow.
essentially becoming the world's warehouse and shaving those profit margins down to the point where most other people go out of business? And if he is so evil, why do we click and buy so much?
I would say he hasn't reached that point of redemption just yet. He's got to be dead for a while before people like him.
Maybe. Well, he donated his money to charity. And by the way, Bill and Melinda Gates donated a vast portion
Huge
of their dough
amounts.
to charity. I was reading the other day about Johnny Carson, even though he was not a billionaire. He's worth about $500 million in today's dollars, I think, when he passed away. It was a good amount of money. Yeah, I think it was 200-something million at the time. And he, most of it went into a foundation, his charity, which is still considered one of the best charities of all time. And he, again, maybe not the greatest husband. He had his vices, but brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. And, I think of him as a good guy.
Yeah.
He certainly influenced me. When I was trying to learn how to do radio, I bought a VCR for almost $1,000 in 1981 money, taped the Johnny Carson show every day, and practiced talking like a host. Remember that?
I remember listening to him.
All right. I don't know what happened to Andrew there. So
He might have had enough of his dad for one
he
night.
might have. No, it's funny. We give each other shit, but we both love each other so much. In fact, half of it is being able to give each other shit and see, like, it's almost a challenge to see if we can offend each other, and we usually can't. Yes, Sip.
I was just thinking, some of these billionaires, once you get that level of wealth, more wealth, it becomes not a sport, but it becomes the only way to measure you still growing somehow in your own mind.
Yes.
And also the psychological effect of becoming that wealthy, and just by becoming that wealthy, becoming this giant, powerful figure, that's going to really screw with your head, without a doubt, correct?
I mean, that's John's theory. I totally buy into that. It's so hard to be benevolent the more power you have, because your instincts, your competitiveness say win, 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 right, Sean?
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say it takes away your focus from the basics. That you're really glad that no one's throwing grenades at you or chopping your arm with a machete, and you have enough to eat, right? That's so far below the billionaire's frame of reference, they don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
So because most of us are pretty happy when we were given a life to live without too much stress, without too much harm. Yeah, we have to work hard. Maybe we don't like our neighbors, but we're not being killed. Billionaires don't think that way.
Okay. So we're all fairly, I'm socially very liberal. We're fairly liberalish here. I wish we had a conservative to debate on this. And I'm also really freaking concerned about conservatives, because they should love this guy, Elon Musk, because he's owning the libtards. He's, talking about free speech for the right-wing conspiracy theorists, and yet they can't quite love him because he's doing green stuff for the earth. This doesn't make sense. So I'm curious if any of you are out there, what you think. Let's go to some viewers. Mad Mac. Good to see everyone looking happy and healthy. Where's Ed Kelly? Ed is off today. Ed had a kind of a traumatic event last week, and we all got together as friends and chatted about it. And hopefully next week we'll talk about it with him. It was him trying to be a hero. I'll tell you that much. He and Sean, you might understand how this feels. Zip and I went through this last week with him. He found someone having a heart attack and administered CPR, and it didn't work.
That's really a really bad situation, and it affects you for a long time.
It's hard for me to. It's hard. I'm sure I can't understand, but it's like PTSD for him.
I had my younger brother go down in front of me, and I was getting ready to do CPR on him, and I thought, "Oh my God, this is it." He came around, but
does that make you feel like the hero that you are, or
no,
you still,
no?
Yeah.
I just happened. I mean, my sister-in-law was screaming, and there he was laying upside down off a dock, and we got him out there.
All right, back to listeners. Text us right now. We'd love to hear from you. Mad, oh, thank you for picking one. The topic is, who's your favorite billionaire and why? Favorite meaning good person inside, still probably human and flawed, and good for humanity. Bill Gates gives his money away for charity and isn't a dick like most of the rest of them. Well,
Yeah.
we all can be a dick from time to time. Some of us don't get caught on camera as much as others. Oh, Faye, I love your comment. Don't get Bob riled up. His cardiologist is watching you. I will tell you about that. And we're not going to be on very long tonight. This is a pop-up live broadcast. I will tell you a little bit about that. On Friday, I developed AFib, and my Apple Watch is what told me I had it. And after about 5 warning shots, I went in to the ER where I was immediately in trauma. Trauma is the area, the room they have where you're having a heart issue. And it took them an hour to bring it under control, not fix it. And then I was waiting for a room for a very long time. But when I finally got into the cardiac monitoring unit, observation unit, incredible care. Medication brought my rhythm back to normal, and now I'll have to have a follow-up. And there were so many people that texted me and emailed and said, yes, same thing happened to me. Sean, you have some heart issues like that too? AFib?
No, my heart rate is too low. I need if I have a further problem, I would have a pacemaker, but I'm okay.
Okay.
So
Brian Cornfield is out there. And Brian's picture is a picture of his beloved Porsche.
Very nice.
Thank you for watching, Brian, one of my best friends and favorite listeners of all time. Brian, you have to pick a favorite billionaire. Which billionaire is the best person and has done the most for society? I've posited out there that right now Elon Musk deserves that consideration, even if you can't stand him. And I don't even care if Twitter fails. I don't use it. I'd rather talk to real people in real time and see their facial expressions. Okay. Someone else, thank you for the well wish. Mad Max is back. Good reason for getting one of those watches. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And sorry, I didn't mean to give you quick, short shrift there, Billy. Thank you for the well wisher. Andrew is back. Did we have a technical problem, or did you have to go poop? What's going on?
Yeah, well, just like a heart, sometimes the Wi-Fi needs a quick shock to the system to get it back situated. And
Clear.
yeah. So I don't know, something got a little funky. It heard you talking smack about Elon Musk and Bill Gates, and it shorted itself out. So
yeah. All right, you have to pick one. Brian did go ahead and pick one. And by the way, the follow-up to Brian's is really good. Ginger, you're up on deck next. Anyone who has a favorite billionaire, text it into us now. Brian goes with Bill Gates. Without Windows, where would we all be?
Outside having fun.
Well, actually, I think Apple had the graphic user interface, and Gates knew how to popularize it. But still, without Gates, who knows if someone else would have done the same thing. I agree. All right, Ginger, I love your answer. Melinda Gates is my favorite.
That's my mom.
Is that your mom?
That's my mom.
Oh, Ginger.
Oh, excellent.
All right. 2 in a row, by the way. Brilliant minds think alike. Bob Flint is watching. Given recent events, what about Laureen Powell Jobs? So that's Steve Jobs' wife, who I believe is also, what is she doing? Isn't she funding positive journalism, The Atlantic or something? I'm trying to remember what she's doing. If you know, let us know. She's doing some good stuff. Paul Allen. Paul Allen breaks the mold. I've never heard of Paul Allen being an asshole. Never. Good for the community. Great at Microsoft. Made a ton of money, and then went on to purchase the Seahawks and the Portland Trailblazers. Yes, Andrew.
Do you remember what camp you sent me to on in the San Juan Islands when I was in high school?
Oh yeah. This is a good story. So
Paul Allen,
who I just said is a wonderful guy. Go ahead.
He
tell him.
bought land that was owned by a summer camp and kicked all the kids off and made the camp move to a different spot
and built his mansion there
and built a mansion and demolished a kid's summer camp
with a lot of bulldozers.
yes.
And someone didn't pay the towing bills for the barge to go from one island to another. That's all I can say about
That's
that.
all I can say about this. Attorney-client privilege. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So every billionaire has squashed people like a bug. Come on. How could you not? Yeah, you need something. Mad Mac. When you have to poop and are on the radio, that's when you put on Inagata Davida.
Okay.
All right.
Freebird.
Mad Mac has reached his limit, folks.
I don't know how quick he's getting his business done, but
Michael Whithouse says Mark Cuban's a nice billionaire. I actually interacted with Mark Cuban, and let me tell you about that. He had this radio app called, I think it was broadcast.com, early on with the internet, and was encouraging radio stations to sign up, and he was going to be the streaming giant of radio. And during the heydays of the dot-com bubble, it became worth $6 billion. I met Mark Cuban for the first time at a National Association of Broadcasters convention, where he was literally sitting in a small booth at a card table telling people they should sign up their radio stations to stream. He didn't have a pot to piss in. He didn't, I'm sure he had a pot to piss in, but you know what I'm saying, figuratively. And he sold broadcast.com to another company that's gone on to greatness, Yahoo. Zip, I want you to guess how much he got for it, how he got his stake.
I have no idea, but that's an interesting story. How much?
If memory serves, it was $6 billion.
Current net value?
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. Oh, what a website went away. It doesn't even exist. No, it does not exist. And that whole idea that there would be one aggregator on web browsers on your desktop PC that would be radio, that's so MySpace. That's so funny. All right. These guys I'm a fan of, so I'll give them the mention. The guys on the All In podcast. 3 of them are billionaires. One's a co-founder of Google or early investor or whatever. One is David Sachs, who's this right-wing nut job that I find very entertaining and brilliant. And there are a lot of right-wing nut jobs I don't find brilliant, although they can be entertaining. He's smart. And Jason Calacanis is the host. He's the one who I think is only worth a couple $100 million. So he's like the poor guy in the group. And who's the other one? The Sultan of Science. The other science guy, his name escapes me right now. Brilliant on top of all the newest scientific explosions that are going on. For example, scientists want to grow meat. And I don't mean Beyond Burger. I mean indistinguishable chicken from beef grown in a lab. And they kind of, his name is David Friedberg, they kind of can do that, except it costs about $80,000 a pound at the moment, which is not cost effective. So anyway, if you want to watch that podcast, and it's part of how I get a sense of billionaires, by the way, and they're all friends with Elon Musk. They love Elon. You were about to speak.
Oh, I was just going to say, it might be cost effective for the billionaires, the meat,
For them.
right? They can afford it. And that keeps the scientists working, so it's all good. I have been in trial for last month, and I have to go because I have a deposition.
All right, you gotta
in
go.
For 4 minutes. So I just wanted to say thank you, everybody. I really appreciate this. It was most fun I have all day.
You said you were
all
having
week.
a shitty day. Yeah.
Well, it's not as much as just been work, and no fun. So this is fun. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Love you, Sean. Thanks for being here
Thanks,
with your wisdom.
Sean. Thank you.
And we'll take a few more. We're not going to stay that much longer.
Oh, good. I was worried I was going to have to carry the conversation from now on.
Eddie says Tesla stock is making me money. Michael's back with Remember Real Audio. Yes. Oh, who was the billionaire? A guy from Microsoft. Rob Glazer. Real Audio. Very similar to that broadcast.com time when someone thought that having the player that
Oh, that's right.
encoded-
Real audio player, which was kind of funky, as I recall.
Well, it started out with 14.4 modems, right? Then,
Well, and that's when there was a battle for the format too, MP3 or whatever. Yeah.
all right. Hugs to Bob and Bob's son. Thank you for putting that on, Bob's kid. Chewy says this: I don't know a billionaire who wants to help the middleman.
Interesting observation.
What is
The
middle?
middleman do, but get in.
Whoop, lost you, Andrew.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
say again.
man.
There we go. You're back.
Good. My Apple Watch says to go to the hospital, so I gotta wrap this up in a few minutes.
All
but-
right, catch you later. Just kidding. Bye, Sean.
What is the purpose? What is the purpose of the middleman other than to get in the middle? So by definition, what has the middleman ever done for me?
The
Why
middleman's
is this guy defending the middleman?
the drones of the workplace. The middleman.
Oh, I think that's the lower class are the
Well,
drones.
I don't know.
I mean,
Not
we
always.
are becoming Hindu fast. There's 12 castes in the Hindu society, and you were born into a caste, and that's where that's where your value will be, up at the top or and if you're in the bottom, you will always be in the bottom. And there's an argument that that's sort of how society evolves over time. And here, there's a lot of people that just work to try and feed themselves. The middle class, we're customers. And I say I'm obviously upper middle class, but I'm not a one percenter. For a while, I was making 1%er kind of money, but I'm retired and living on a fixed income right now. It wasn't badly fixed.
So you can go from number one to a failure.
I don't know if you can go from number one to a failure. I think you can go from number.
You used to be the number one radio host in Seattle, and now you're getting 12 people on a stream on a Tuesday evening.
That's right. And I was watching Charles Laquadera do a stream last night too from Boston. He does it live too, and I watched the whole thing because I love the guy. And it doesn't matter how many people there are. If they're
That's right.
If they're friends, it's good. I've seen you do a comedy club with less than 1,000 people.
And you will see it again. Yes.
Oh gosh, I remember
Oh,
9,600 bowed modems. Gosh, thank you, John Red Eye Knight Brotlock. Hold on, going back for a second. That's a big long name. Take a stab at it. In whatever accent he would have. Brotlock. That's like, could that be Scottish or is it Klingon?
German, isn't it?
No, German. Oh, yeah.
Braulocht.
Like bratwurst. All right. Wendy Davis West. I just received a follow request from Elon Musk on Instagram. All right. Well, people have been super sensible. I don't understand where all the Elon Musk hate is coming from. Because there's people out there. You say his name. A friend of mine, I sent this song we did about the submarine implosion. That I am going to play it, by the way, now that enough time has passed. The funerals are over. But Anyway, I sent her the song, a friend of mine from high school, and she wrote back and said, I'm only sorry that Elon Musk wasn't on that trip.
Ooh.
I
Ouch.
I think she meant it.
You know, I looked up on Forbes a list of, I guess there's 3,200 billionaires in the world, something like that. There's over 3,000. We've been kind of stuck in this current media, you know, the top of the media charts as far as billionaires. You mentioned, you know, Benjamin Franklin was mentioned, I think, in the billionaire category. I don't know value-wise if he was or not, but.
Back then, well, even now, rulers become oligarchs sometimes. All right, couple quick comments, then we're going to head out. Seattle is, thank you, Mr. Brotlock. The only place where eat a big bag of dicks is a compliment. That's Seattle. Zip, do you understand that one?
I don't know.
Okay.
No.
It's a restaurant, Dick's Burgers.
I was going to say it had to be an inside Seattle joke.
It's
Okay.
eat a big bag of dicks is one of their slogans. Okay, last but not least, people who love Elon Musk love him for buying Twitter. Okay. Thank you, everybody. This has been a quick pop-up podcast, and I appreciate all 12 of you. By the way, over the weeks, you usually get several thousand views. So, but Andrew and I have a commitment to trying to make each other feel worthless wherever possible.
Doing an excellent job.
Yes.
Well, that's just called fatherhood, I think. Yeah.
And last word, it's pronounced Bralocht. Cheers,
It
everybody.
is German, though, John, correct? Yes.
Yes. Take care of it.